It's the beginning of the month yet again, and that means it's time to come back and take a look at my dividend portfolio. So we're going to look at all the buys and sells I made and all the dividends we received, and just talk about how the portfolio performed versus the overall market this month and over the past year. And then we'll also just talk about some of my thoughts on the portfolio and what I'm trying to improve moving forward. So this is my portfolio spreadsheet here, and you can pause and take a look at some of the holdings if you want to, but just kind of at a summary glance, right now the portfolio is valued around $6,600, and this is before we update with any of the transactions for the month of August. And we're expecting annual dividends around $146, which gives us a dividend yield right now of about 2.9% with a 5-year average dividend growth rate of about 7%. And then these here are all the sectors, equity by sector, dividend income by sector. So we're going to go over to Fidelity, and this is where my portfolio is, and I have all the transactions filtered from August 1st to the 31st, so I can just download that CSV data, and then I have some scripts where I can run that and parse all that data into my spreadsheet, so I don't really have to enter anything manually or worry about missing anything if that were to happen. So it's just a lot easier for me, and I like having it automated. It's just kind of fun, I guess, to be honest, to have it a little bit automated and able to kind of do it on its own. So the data is loaded into my spreadsheet now, so I can just run this script for parsing Fidelity transactions, and then I'll go and run through the transactions and put the buys and sells in the appropriate columns and put the dividends in the appropriate columns as well within my spreadsheet, and then it'll give us a little summary. So we'll start out by looking at the transactions once that finishes up. So we'll go to the transactions tab and scroll down here, and it'll put all the buys and cash deposits in the left side here, right down here after that is done. So the script has finished running, and we can see the little summary here. So deposits of $350 for the month, buys for the month about $283, no sells, and dividends totaled for the month $20.30, which is really exciting to see. And looking at the transactions here, we can see we really only made one purchase, which was at the very end of the month, and that was HPQ stock, which is HP Inc. And I bought 10 shares of that at an average cost of about $28.32. So this is a new addition to the portfolio, and the company basically reported their Q3 earnings this past week, and the stock fell, I think, around 7, 8, 9, maybe even 10% at the beginning of market open that day. So I kind of scooped up those shares, and then the stock has since recovered at least 4 or 5%, I would say. So I'm pretty happy with that price. I made some videos, I think at least one video on the channel in the past on HPQ stock, so you can check that out, and I've definitely mentioned it other times as a company that I do like, so I am happy to have bought it there, and it's a company Warren Buffett owns as well, which is generally a good sign. I mean, I'm not just straight up copying him, but it's a good sign when you kind of come to the same ideas or conclusions as an investor like Warren Buffett. And then also you can just see the cash deposit here. And looking at the dividend payments for the month, we will scroll all the way down to the bottom here, almost 300 lines here. So we can see in August, we got a fair amount of dividends from different companies. So first of all, about $2.29 from AT&T, 48 cents from Carrier Global, $1.69 from Air Products and Chemicals, $3.45 from AbbVie, $1.33 from Procter & Gamble, $1.24 from Texas Instruments, 50 cents from Apple, $1.43 from Caterpillar, and then $7.89 of interest on our cash. So you can see in this chart of dividends by month that this August was actually our biggest month of dividends. Obviously, some of that is due to the higher interest on our cash and the fact that we have more cash sitting in our account. But even without that cash interest, it would still be a pretty substantial month compared to last year or the year before. So it's pretty exciting, I think, just because 2020, 2021, you can see we're making just a few bucks a month, and now we're making in the range of 15 to 20, and I'm sure within the next few years we'll be making maybe like $100 a month or even more, which will definitely be where the portfolio really starts to pick up, I think. And looking at the quarter so far, we've already received $35.27 in the third quarter, and we still have a whole month to go. So I'm pretty excited for how Q3 and Q4 for sure are gonna wrap up. And then on the year, we've received $104.90, which is pretty exciting because we're already above 2022, but then we have also crossed the $100 mark, which is an exciting milestone as well. So the next tab I want to look at here is called ticker changes, and this can just give us an idea of how each company in the portfolio performed this particular month. So we have it filtered out for August 1st to the 31st, and we can just filter the performance. So we can see HP was actually the worst performer in the portfolio. Obviously, I didn't own it the whole month, so it's down almost 10% over the last month. So it was actually dropping, a few percent before the earnings release, and then it dropped, 7, 8, close to 10% again on the earnings release, and it has since rebounded some. Leggett & Platt, JP Morgan, Travelers down about 6, 7, 8%. Texas Instruments down almost 6%. That is one that has been bouncing around near where I want to buy it, but not quite close enough, I think, for me to be really interested. And we really only have 3 companies that are positive on the month, which is Aflac, AT&T, and Cisco, up about 3.4 for the first 2 companies there, and then Cisco blowing it out of the water, up about 9% this month, which is pretty interesting. And then also looking at invested per ticker, so this can just give us an idea of how much we invested in all the different companies, which obviously we just invested $283 in HPQ. And then looking at dividends, we can see which companies kind of paid us the most dividends here. AbbVie, AT&T, Air Products and Chemicals, Caterpillar were kind of the top 4 there. And then also looking at this value over time, which I really like to look at here. Looks like our chart got a little bit messed up. So I'll go and find whatever data point that is. And for some reason, I do remember why that was. For some reason, the Johnson & Johnson Google Finance ticker symbol got kind of messed up for, whatever reason. And so that kind of skewed some of the data. So it said Johnson & Johnson shares were like $8,000 per share or something. So that kind of messed up some of this data, but I can just delete those because that's just kind of, data errors there. And look at this value over time. Just keep plotting upward, almost at $7,000 portfolio value, and then we'll be close to $8,000 after that. And dividend income just going steadily up, and we can see from 5-year dividend CAGR that is kind of hasn't been going down all that much in the past few months, which I like to see. And as we'll look at in a second here, the purchase of HP actually definitely helps increase that dividend CAGR as well. So we can look at this summary tab to see kind of the changes with that HP purchase, and we can sort by equity again to include that. So HP is around the 10th largest position in the portfolio. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7th largest. About $300 is what the position is worth right now, which is about 4.4% of their portfolio, and that'll generate about $10.50 of dividend income. Right now, HP's 5-year dividend CAGR is about 13.5%, which is really exciting. And they also have a pretty low payout ratio of only 33%, which is another great thing about the company. So I've talked about the company in past videos, but they've been struggling the last year or so as demand has slipped a lot. And then this quarter, demand didn't really start recovering quite as much as they anticipated it would in this quarter. But quarter over quarter, they still grew revenue and income by, I think, around 10%, maybe something like that. So as we can see, the portfolio value now is around $7,000, almost there, and projected income is $156.74, which is exciting. And the 5-year dividend CAGR average is up to right about 7.5%, which is really, closer to where I want it to be. We're going in the right direction, I think. And then looking here at equity by sector, that purchase of HP really bumped up the technology graph here. So technology is, I think it was before, but it is definitely the biggest position in the portfolio. And then it definitely bumped up the dividend income for technology as well, which is almost 17%. Obviously, some of those companies like Microsoft and Apple have pretty low yields. But I think it's interesting actually because the past two companies that I've added to the portfolio, which have been HP and Texas Instruments, have both been tech companies. Which is interesting because you normally don't think of tech companies as being, super cheap. But, these are two companies that I think are very high quality and are, going through some short-term issues that is causing the stock price to be a little bit lower and at what I would consider to be an attractive price. So here is where I would normally talk about the portfolio's performance and compared to the overall market. Unfortunately, on Fidelity, the website at least, the data isn't updated for the end of August yet, but actually on the phone app here, it does have the updated data. So I'll take some screenshots and show you guys what that looks like. It doesn't have the 1 month or 3 month, but year to date, my portfolio has returned about 7.9%. Compared to the S&P 500, which is 18.7, so really lagging year to date, and that's really been the case throughout the whole past year for the most part. Is that the recent months when the market has been trending up, my portfolio has been lagging. And then when we look at the past 1 year, the market S&P 500 is up about 15.9%, and my portfolio is up about 14.5. And that's not really up, that's just the return of the portfolio is 14.5%. So now we are lagging just a little bit over the past year, which is okay to see, I think. And I think my portfolio has definitely been getting better over the past year, so hopefully we'll be able to perform a little bit better over the next year than the market maybe. And I think we should be getting some 3-year data pretty soon at the end of October, I believe. So in about 2 months' time, we should get some 3-year data from Fidelity, which will allow us to make a better longer term comparison to the overall market when looking at my portfolio's performance. So overall, I'm pretty happy with how things are going with my dividend portfolio. Like I said, not really all that much action this month, just that purchase of HP at the very end of the month, but I'm pretty happy with that purchase, and definitely would look to add to the position if it falls significantly more or close to my average cost. But I actually looked in my spreadsheet and I'm already up about 7% on the position, which is obviously nothing crazy, but it's fun to look at when it's only been like 2 days since I opened the position. But like I've said, 5-year dividend CAGR, or just the dividend CAGR in general, is something I'm working on improving. So that was a good step in the right direction, improving that from around 7.3% to 7.5% this month. So little baby steps here and there will help me get closer to that 8% that I'm kind of looking for. I think that's kind of, a higher number that is going to grow those dividends quickly for most of those companies, but it's also not super aggressive that it's not sustainable for a lot of companies for a long period of time. So I would love to hear how your guys' portfolios performed this month and how much you received in dividends. And if you do have any feedback for me on my portfolio, or maybe something you think I'm doing wrong or what I could do to improve, or if you have some positive feedback, that would be great as well. But again, thanks for watching to the end of the video. If you want to chat with myself and other long-term investors, you can feel free to join my Discord server, which is free, and there'll be a link in the description. And again, thanks for watching. I'll see you all in the next one.